before we start discussing about what actually MongoDB is, let's take a quick overview of what is a NoSQL database. So NoSQL is basically a term which stands for not only SQL or non-relational. So guys, as you can figure out the keyword over here, term, we are not saying that NoSQL is a database. There is a misconception about NoSQL is that it is a database. But no, it's not a database, it is not a language, it is not a technology, it is just a term. Or we can say it is a concept. And under this concept, different kinds of databases comes around. So MongoDB is one of the database which comes under NoSQL type, right? So one more keyword over here is that it is non-relational. Now what is non-relational? When you say that the data is going to get stored in the form of tables, so in such cases, we prefer the relational database systems. So prior to the concept of NoSQL, there is a language called as a SQL. What is SQL now? SQL stands for Structured Query Language, which is basically used to store, retrieve and manipulate the data in the relational database systems. And right now we have seen that relational database is what? It just stores the data in the tabular format, and table is nothing but the collection of rows and columns. The relational databases are used to store the structured form of data. So if you're having the structured data, then it is the best way to store it in the tables rather than in other format. And these relational databases follow some properties. Now what are these properties? These properties are nothing but the ACID properties. So we'll try to figure out each term one by one. So we'll start with the A, that is atomicity. So atomicity is nothing but either all the changes of the transaction are applied completely or nothing is done at all. Now let's try to understand it practically. Suppose if I went to a shop for purchasing a product and paid the money using the online transaction, then the money should be successfully credited to the seller's account or the entire transaction should be failed. But what if the amount is deducted from my account and is not credited to another account? So if this is the case, then the system is not maintaining the atomicity during the transaction. What I expect is, if I'm making the transaction, then the transaction should get successfully executed, or otherwise the entire transaction should get rolled back. So this is nothing but atomicity. Now coming to the second property, that is nothing but the consistency. Now what is consistency? It means the data in the database is in a consistent state before and after the transaction is performed. Now if you try to understand it with the above example, so before the transaction, if I have 1000 rupees in my account and I have done the purchasing of 100 rupees, then my account should have 900 rupees and the other account should get credited with the 100 rupees. So if the another person is having 1500 rupees in his account, then his account should get updated with the 1600 amount. So it is a very obvious calculation, but if this is not the case with your system, then your system is not maintaining the consistency. And if your system is not consistent, then there are the possibilities that your system can get to the inconsistent state, and which is not acceptable. Then the third property which relational databases satisfies is the isolation. Now isolation means if the two transactions are getting performed simultaneously, then both the transactions should be independent of each other. That means one transaction should not interfere the execution of another transaction. And the last property is nothing but durability. The data which is committed in the database must not be lost in case of any kind of system failure. Suppose in case if your power failure occurs and your computer or the system shuts down abruptly, so in that case there is a possibility that your data which is present in the database may get lost. But if this is the case, then your system is not durable. But the relational databases are such which provides all the ACID properties which makes the relational database systems rigid and more reliable. Now the question comes in mind is, if these relational databases are so powerful and so reliable, then why do we need to use NoSQL, right? Now let's try to understand it. As you can see in the picture, I have tried to scale out the tables. Scaling out the table means what? I have a single table and I've tried to distribute the data of that table on multiple sources. So in diagram, it is seeming very easy, but if we try to implement it practically, then it is not easy at all, because retrieving the data from multiple sources, it's very difficult and it makes your system slow as well. So when you are having the tabular form of data, it's not a good option to use the scaling. So the need of scalability has increased because of the big data issues. Now, what is big data? The data is coming from various sources. It can be either industries, it can be either IT field, or it can be audios, videos. Everything or every data which is available in the market are of such big sizes. So it's a very big question that how to store these kind of data in an efficient way so that it is very easy for us to retrieve the data properly or to access it. So the good option for this is a NoSQL database, in which we are not having the restriction to store the data in the tables. So if we are having any other kind of data, then we can prefer the NoSQL database. So we'll discuss what kind of formats in which data can be stored. It can either be documents, it can either be graphs, or it can be a key value pair format. So as in case of a SQL, we were following the properties called as ACID properties. Now in context of NoSQL, we follow the base properties. Now what is base property? Firstly, we'll start with the term called as BA, that is basically available. So the system should be in readily available state in a reasonable amount of time, and that is called as what? The system is basically available. Second property is S, which stands for soft state. It means if no new input is provided to the system, then the system changes over time. Next property is E, that is eventually consistent. It means if no new updates are made to the data, then in such a case, the system will eventually returns the last updated value. So as per these properties, the only compromise which NoSQL database does is the consistency, and which is very important from the point of view if you want to deal with the data in a financial transaction. But what the case if our application does not need consistency and we can compromise consistency over availability? So the NoSQL database compromises strong consistency and we need to cooperate it with the eventual consistency. But that's okay, because in some cases we don't want the data to be much more consistent than to be available. Now if we try to understand it practically with an example, so a real life example of this is nothing but a social networking site called as a Facebook. So as we all know that Facebook has millions of users and the number of users is also increasing day by day. So it is very important for Facebook to scale out more, even though the consistency can be tolerated and eventual consistency can be preferred in such a case. Now let's try to understand it practically. Suppose if someone sent you friend request, so technically I should receive that friend request or notification at the time that request is actually sent. It means that it should maintain the consistency, but we may receive the request after some time, which is okay because we are not losing some money if we accept the request afterwards, right? So here we should note that if the Facebook system is so large and spanned, that's why it's not a big deal to compromise the consistency rather than availability, since it is serving multiple users at the same time. Now, I hope you all have got the basic understanding of using NoSQL over SQL. Now let's get started with discussing about what actually MongoDB is. So MongoDB is a kind of NoSQL database. It is a document-oriented database which is easy to scale out as compared to the relational databases. And in the previous topic only, we have seen that what relational database is and what is the need of scaling out the data. So document-oriented database means what? It stores the data in the form of documents, which we'll see it further that how these documents get stored in this MongoDB. Then MongoDB stores the data or the documents in the JSON or BSON format. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. As you can see in the JSON format, it is having a key value pair. So for example, you can see we have stored two kinds of data, that is a name and age, in a single document. So name is written as strings and it is having a value. So value depends on, suppose if you want to store the string data, then you need to specify it within double quotes. If it is an integer value, then you don't need to specify the double quotes over there. So these keys and values are not of fixed type or size. That means it is not having a predefined schema. It's not necessary to store same kind of data in a single document. You can store any kind of data within a single document. So it becomes very easy for us to add and remove the fields, and accessing the data also gets easy. Now coming to the data model of MongoDB. As you can see in the picture, there are three basic components which we need to consider in the data model. That is databases, collections, and documents. So if we try to relate it with the relational database systems, a database is having tables and tables are having rows, right? So if we try to relate it with the RDBMS, so MongoDB data model is containing the databases, collections, and documents. So collections are equivalent to tables in RDBMS and documents are equivalent to the rows in RDBMS. Now let's try to understand what a document is. So document is nothing but a key value pair, as we have already seen in the JSON format. So these keys and values need to be enclosed within the curly brackets. And you can store multiple documents within a single collection. So these documents are written in the key value pair format. Now there is a concept called as an embedded document also. So as you can see in the example, we have three fields, or we can say the data for name, age, and address. So name is containing a string, age is containing an integer number, but as you can notice over here in address can have the sub data also, that is house number and city. So in such cases, if you want to embed the document within another document, since address is going to act as another document within a single document, so these kind of documents are called as embedded documents. Now let's try to understand the embedded documents with one more example. So as you can see in the example, we have a data name, age, address, and contact number. So name is containing a string, age is containing an integer, address is containing another document in it along with the house number and city. So the last field you can notice over here is contact. So this contact is written in the subscripts, or we can say the square brackets. So there might be a possibility that a single person can have more than one contact numbers. So in such a case, you can prefer the arrays. Now we need to follow some rules while writing the documents. So the first rule we need to follow is the keys in a document are written as strings. The second rule is the keys must not contain the null character. That means the documents containing the keys should not contain any kind of null character in it. The third rule is the dot and dollar symbol. You cannot use these special symbols for writing the keys in a document, since these symbols are having a different meaning in the MongoDB. We'll see it further that what these symbols symbolizes. Then the next rule is the documents cannot contain the duplicate keys. So as you can see in the example, I have written a document in which name data is repeated twice. So there is a single document which is containing the name data twice. So this is not allowed. Now coming to the next point about collections. So what is a collection now? A collection is a group of documents. Now if we try to relate it with the RDBMS, so the collection is equivalent to the tables in RDBMS and documents are equivalent to the rows in RDBMS. So the table contains rows, similarly collection contains documents in it. So the next is the collection contains different types of documents data in it. So in the previous topic, we have seen that documents was containing the different kind of data. That is, it was storing strings also, integer also, or any other kind of data in it. So the collection also stores the documents which is having a multiple kind of data. Now there are some rules you need to follow while writing the collections. So the first rule is the collection can be identified by its name. As in case of RDBMS, we identify a table by its name. So similarly, in MongoDB, the collection is also identified by a particular name with it. Next rule is collection name cannot be an empty string. So you cannot give an empty name to a collection. Then the next rule, collection name cannot contain the null character. So you cannot specify any kind of null character within the collection name. So these are some rules you need to follow while writing the collection. Now coming to the last component of your MongoDB data model, and that is nothing but the databases. So a database in MongoDB is a group of collections containing documents. So as per the hierarchy of MongoDB data model, we can relate it with databases contains collections and collections contains documents in it. Again, for writing the databases, you need to follow some rules. So the first rule is the database can be identified by its name, as in case of collection also, we were identifying the collection by its name. Second rule is the database name cannot be an empty string, same as of collection. And the third one is collection name cannot contain null character or any special character in it. And the last one is the database names are case sensitive. It means, suppose if you're writing the database demo name of a database where your D of your database and D of your demo both are capital ones, and another database you have created in which the database demo name are having all the cases as small case. So both these databases are going to act differently since the database names in MongoDB are case sensitive. I hope you have got the basic understanding of what actually NoSQL database is and what are the main concepts and terminologies of a MongoDB.